This is Jared Dixon speaking on behalf of CREATELARPSFORALL LLC. Community of Legends is the game that we are working on. I wanted to go over a little bit about more of the storyteller stuff. And I'll probably go over this in many different ways because people need to hear it different ways if they're running the game. Especially if you're running like a demo version or you've bought one of the quick starter type guides. NPCs should be limited to one skill, or at max 2. They should not be as varied and structured as the players. Allied NPCs should get one thing that they can do as opposed to 3 to keep it easy and to keep them sort of one note in your story. So the other thing is use the demo skills that the players have for most of your NPCs at lower levels, at like 5 or 1, to give them examples of what they can do through your NPCs. But try not to give your NPCs, especially your allied NPCs, a 10 in something the players can do to leave them room to be the star that shines for that part of the story. Your NPCs should be tools to tell the story with. Maybe cool in the fact that the players like them, but they should not be mechanically superior to the players. Otherwise, why does the story need them there? And your story should know why they need to be there. Now, as for villains and challenges, if you have a lot of villains, like a group of bandits, they should on average be weaker than the players. It should be a thing where maybe they have a leader that's on par with the players, a little bit above, or maybe a little bit more hit points than the standard player, and then the rest of the hit points for that encounter are bandits that are just there to be minions. Once they get hit, they're going to run or flee or be taken out. But if you have one NPC, if you have one threat, one villain, it's okay to make them significantly stronger than an individual player. Now, if you're doing a one-player game, you've got to give them a little bit more NPCs to support that. But if you've got a small LARP, which those can range from 30 to 60 people, if you've got 30 people, you can make one pretty big, beefy enemy that can block and dodge a lot of damage. But you need to be careful with this as a storyteller. You need to make sure the encounter is winnable. Because if you make unwinnable encounters, that's a problem. Now, at a lot of LARPs that I go to that are Friday, Saturday, Sunday LARPs, which I don't get to go to those very often, maybe once a quarter, they'll set up a villain Friday night that seems insurmountable. This tends to be the way the story goes. And they'll usually do it by giving them some skill the players don't know about, or some new magic, or some new ability, or some new armor or technology that has them seem unkillable. And maybe the players go out unorganized, or only a few of the players go out, or there's a big field battle Friday night / early Saturday morning, like 1 a.m. and the players lose. Or the players learn about the big threat, and maybe they win the battle, but there's something bigger set up. And then Saturday, there's a lot of modules and quests and things to go do to gain tools to be able to beat this new threat. And then Saturday night, big field battle, you beat the threat, everybody wins. It's a good time for some people to leave. Some people hang around Sunday morning to just chat and be friendly. This game, you can have NPCs that set up that challenge, but they need to be defeatable since we're doing one-shots by the end of it. So maybe you have a smaller group of players, not fully stacked yet, run into the enemy unprepared. They would then be defeated, and since there's the Reform and Revive skill, they'd get brought back to town and be able to show the threat. and then the town would be able to work together, fully stacked, show up, beat this guy. Now, as a storyteller, you are still subject to certain limits via the amount of players that show up. But you can say, hey, I want to establish a cool story thing. Like if say, I need 4 volunteers for a module. It is deadly difficulty, so you've let them know in advance they might not survive. And then you can communicate to them, especially if they're new, hey, this story has a chance where you get sent back to town and have to be revived. Are you okay coming on this adventure? Some new players might be like, no, I don't really want to do that. Or some people who don't like to have their character get taken out for no reason are like, no, I'm good. And you can set up stakes by having a scene or a story where your heroes get beat up or they encounter a new skill they don't know how to counter. But once they've encountered it, you should be like, all right, let's say they have some sort of like poison ability that the players with the healing skills can't fix in that one fight. Well, when they go back to town, they should go, hey, this is how it worked. This is what happened. This is what I learned from that losing experience. It's okay to have, now when people are learning and you're in a small group, everything should be winnable by the end of the story. But maybe you have longer games or bigger games, or you're going to want to continue this story on forward. This will be more the advanced guide. You will then need to set up threats where the players need to work together to come up with a solution. Maybe they come up with some sort of new anti-poison skill that's only useful for that event, or that becomes a new player skill that you can add to the game. As long as it follows the same structure as the game that exists, there's no reason why you can't add more content for your games as long as they follow the same logic. Now, if you're just saying, oh, my players can break the limits, no, that's not this game. This game has those limits and the math there for a reason. If your players are all on board with it and they want to break the math, you need to warn them that it won't make them any better. Because what a lot of players don't realize, and it took me a while to realize this too when I would run my epic level games for 3.5 D&D, being higher level and higher numbers doesn't actually mean you're any better. The game is balanced to get harder the stronger you get, which means if you're doing on-level challenges, if you're level 35 in 3.5 D&D, you're fighting the gods, and you're gonna have a rough time. It's not gonna be as fun as you think it's going to be. It's going to turn into Wish versus Wish, alter reality versus super split ray disintegrate that does enough damage to destroy a planet. Billions of damage. Is it really fun? It's like Looney Tunes at that point. It's not a cool, grounded story. So even as a storyteller, don't go too far outside of the limits. Go far enough to challenge the players that showed up to your module. If it's standard, they should win more than 80% of the time. If it's an advanced encounter, it's closer to 60-40. They win, they lose. In a deadly encounter, 30% of the time, they might pull it out. They might figure out a way to win your encounter. If you want to just set a scene, you can say, hey, this is going to be a scene where you lose. Now, again, that's something to talk about with your players to see if they want to go on that module. But it's like, you can still try. You can still fight. You can use all your abilities. But the end result is this. The story needs this. That's one thing I think this system does that I'm not sure if I articulated well. Because it's minimal immersion, and you're all there to tell the story and socialize and have a good time. You can, as the storyteller, go, hey, heads up on this scene. The numbers are not in your favor. Or the numbers are such that I want you to act out your characters fighting as hard as they can against an overwhelming force. Now, again, town's going to revive you. You're going to get your stuff back. It's going to be fine. But you get to experience the last stand, fighting till you drop. And then you come back and you go, all right, here's what they had. Here's how they got me. Let's go get them. Let's go get all of our stuff. Let's go get all of our friends. Let's go deal with this problem. And as a storyteller, you can do that cool stuff. Now again, this was Jared Dixon speaking on behalf of Create LARPs for All LLC, Community of Legends. Go have some fun. Go make some friends. Come back here, tell me how it went. I'm always game to hear your stories. If you want to tell your stories and email them in, they'll have me. I've done all the editing, rendering, and updating some of this stuff. Some of the team will help me sometimes, but I don't do the upload. The upload is one of the other team members. But I do most of everything on this channel, so if you send it in to the email, they'll send it to me or let me log in and see it, and maybe we put it on the channel. Now, if you send it into the business and it goes on the channel, we'll credit you, we'll put your name on there, but it is the business's. Like, I don't own these. These videos are not mine. Have yourself a fantastic day. Keep being awesome.